good morning YouTube, and welcome back to Retired for Life. So we're out in the shop again. My next little project or fixture that I want to make is a table saw jig. Now what this is something that I'm making in order to straighten out bits of 2x4s, boards, that type of thing. Basically taking the place of a jointer. I don't have a jointer. I can't afford a jointer. They're really expensive. So I'm trying this. I've seen this on YouTube, a few different versions of it, but the one I am going to try to make today is from a YouTube channel called 731 Woodworks. I will put a link up here. Where am I? Up here somewhere, to the actual video that I used as reference for this particular jig. I did do a fair bit of looking around to see what makes sense, what looks good. This appeared to be the one that I liked the most anyway, so that's what we're going with. So I've got my 1/2 inch dovetail bit in the router, and I've got it set to 3/8 of an inch depth, which I think is the depth that it's supposed to be for this. And we'll see how the microjig clamp fits in it. Cut through easy enough. Well, it looks like a dovetail. Yeah, it looks good. So plywood is really expensive, and because that I want something really flat and a nice true edge, and I want a decent piece of plywood, I bought this red oak plywood from Home Hardware. Now it's 3/4 of an inch thick, and the layers on it are very thin, which is what I wanted. I wanted something that crosses over a lot of times to make the plywood really strong. So this looks like it's about 8 layers, which means the layers are thin, so you've got the grain crossing back and forth a lot of times, and it's really flat, so hopefully this should do the job. So my first task here with the plywood is to cut it to my width, which is going to be 10 inches. Let's get this through the saw and get ready to put our slots into it. So this is the scary part, taking my dovetail cutter to a really expensive piece of plywood. Well, let's see what we got here. That does it. We'll unclamp this from the table, turn it around, and do the other side. The router bit stopped turning. Yeah, it came loose. I'm lucky it didn't come out. Learn as you go. And I don't think this one cost me anything. Amazingly, it looks like the bit did not dive down into the plywood. All right, let's try again. Nice, we're good. Well, that's a relief. I'm not in trouble. But lots of opportunity yet to go. I've got 5 more slots to put in. So here's a little tip for you. This particular table saw has got a cast iron top, and it's an older table saw, rigid, but it is a really good quality saw. It does a very nice job. And partway along this side there are these slots through the table, and the nice thing with that is you can clamp things down to the table using those slots. So this is a super smooth, super flat, and super strong work surface, so it works really well to do this kind of stuff. So I've got 2 clamps here going through these slots holding this piece of plywood, and then I've got my guide block on here. Now my router is from the outside edge here 2 inches in to the center, so I'm putting my first slot on this end at 4 inches in, and I'll do the same to the other side. Then I'm going to put a slot right down the center, and then I'll divide those 2 sections in half again. So we'll end up with 5 slots going through the width of this fixture. Looks good. We'll keep going. Well, there we are, guys. We got all our grooves cut in it, all the dovetail grooves for the clamps. So I still have to sand off the edges. The next thing I want to do is cut a little 45 on these corners. So we'll clean up all the sawdust here and then take this over to the miter saw and knock these corners off. Now, one thing worth mentioning, always check your lumber size. I assumed when I picked this piece up that it was actually a 4x4 square, and I only measured one way. And I noticed as I was cutting here, my center groove ended up off center. Now fortunately, that doesn't really matter, but it ended up off center because this isn't actually a full 4 feet. They shorted me by 1/4 of an inch. So fortunately, that really doesn't mean anything for this. The important thing is the clamps fit in the grooves and they're going to be able to hold my pieces in place. All right, let's clean up and get to the miter saw. All right, next step is to put some wax on the bottom of it here. Well, there we are, guys. We're all done. And I just want to thank 731 Woodworks one more time. He's got some really interesting videos on there, especially for beginners like me. So I think this is really going to work out well. All right, so that's going to be it for today's video, guys. there is a storm supposed to be coming in later on tomorrow. So I've got a little bit of work to do to get ready for that. I want to make sure the generator is all fueled up and ready to go, and get the birds fed and that type of thing. And we'll see what happens. They keep threatening these winter storms, and we keep not getting them. Oh well, that's okay. So, thanks again for watching, guys. And if you've been enjoying these videos, please don't forget to like. And I'd also love to have you to subscribe to the channel. So, we'll see you out on the trails the next time.